Welcome to the Beepzz podcast, where the automotive industry meets fresh ideas, bold voices, and real stories. We're here to dive into the trends shaping the future. We're going to spotlight the incredible people driving this industry forward and spark conversations that matter. Whether you're a dealer, a disruptor, or simply passionate about cars, this is your space to connect, learn, and be inspired. Let's get rolling. This is Beepzz. Today's guest is Jessi Kessel, CEO and founder of Beepzz, a recruitment firm that's reshaping how dealerships and businesses build leadership teams across Canada and the United States. Jessi is recognized as a leader in the automotive industry with more than 20 years of experience, working her way from receptionist at a dealership to an entrepreneur, founder, and a thought leader in the automotive space. Jessi, let's get started. Let's talk from the origins of your time in Peru. I'm so curious as to how you got from Peru to Canada and what your journey looked like.
I was telling you before we started recording that, I'm a bit nervous because I've never actually told this story. I mean, I've been on camera, people have seen me before, but this is deep and personal. Where it began. So my great-grandfather is originally from Morocco. There was rumblings about people striking it rich in the Amazon because there was a rubber boom happening. So there were a lot of people actually that at the time went from Morocco, got on a boat because that's what you did, and then ended up, going through the Amazon, most people landing in Brazil originally. And so the story goes, he was in his early 20s and looking for adventure. Him and his buddies decided they were going to make their way and, strike it rich. And somewhere along the line, this is now, stories in the family that they were at a port and they were all drinking, as you do when you're in your 20s. And somehow they got separated. So his friends actually ended up on a boat going further into Brazil. And of course, my great-grandfather ends up on a different boat and he goes deep into the jungles of Peru, which is in the northern part of the country. This is a city, Iquitos, that is not accessible by road. You can only fly in via small plane or go through the Amazon River to get there. And because of that one decision, we are now many generations born in Iquitos, Peru, the middle of the jungle. And that's where my grandfather, was born, my mother, and then myself.
Wow. Look at that. One wrong turn can just change your
Drinking at a port.
Look at that.
That's how we got there. Why we ended up staying is because my great-grandfather, there was no flight out the next day. It's not like today. So he was forced to stay there for some time. And then he decided he wanted to stay permanently. He met a woman of Inca descent. He owned a construction business. He had many trucks. He had employees, and he actually did quite well for himself. They had some kids, one of which was my grandfather. And my grandfather, who didn't grow up having to really work and earn his way because his father had, these businesses, was a bit spoiled, to say the least. And he ends up gambling all of the money that he inherited. And he had 13 children. Wow. My mother being number 8. And the older kids grew up with money. And then somewhere in the middle, the younger kids grew up really with no money. I mean, they had to go to friends' houses to eat. I mean, they were broke, really poor. Not a lot of people become successful being from there. Mm-hmm. Normally people, if they can, want to move. And going to live in North America, whether it's the US or Canada, it is a complete dream. And my mother always had that thought in her head, how can I get there, from a young age? Because you watch movies and, you're like, wow, big buildings. And that's always what she dreamed. My mother, how she met my biological father, was in Iquitos. She was quite beautiful. She was a ballet dancer. She got pregnant, not intentionally, with me. But he was the kind of guy, from what I understand, he was also very well liked by the ladies. He was kind of a like machismo kind of guy. I guess he got mixed up with the wrong people. And I think it's because he wanted to be something. He wanted power. And so he ends up getting mixed up with, the cartel. He became a drug runner, essentially. So he would go from city to city and, he lied to everyone that he was traveling for different reasons. With mixing yourself up with drugs, also using drugs, he wasn't the nicest of guys. And he was definitely not nice to my mom. He was very abusive, both physically and verbally. And her being so young and then, having a child, she was kind of at his mercy. She was just survival mode, but she never abandoned me. Even though she was so young, she took on the responsibility. And it wasn't until I was 16 that she actually told me the story of how he died. Until then, I didn't know.
That's a long time. Mm-hmm. Like your identity has already pretty much been formed at this point.
Yeah, they say, I think, like the first 5 years of your life is when your personality is formed.
Yeah.
And I was living there for the first 5 years of my life. I have good memories, of my cousins and playing and being out and feeling, free. And my mom was always my rock. My dad passed away when I was 3. So like I didn't really understand at that moment. But I do remember my grandmother being very sad. And she became very attached to me too. Like I remember she was always like looking after me, always wanting to be with me. But I'm the only daughter that he ever had. Oh. So from a mother's perspective, you look for any sort of connection there. And that's what I've always been to her. And even till now, I mean, she's like, she prays for me. We're still in touch.
So your grandma's back home.
She is.
Got it.
Yeah,
Got
she's
it.
still there.
So your father passed away when you were 3 years old. That leaves your mom very young, now a widow with a baby.
Yeah.
And with all these dreams of, living in a big city. So was this the time where your mom said it's now or never? Like, let's go.
No, it didn't quite happen that way. It took a little bit of time. I mentioned to you that I didn't know what had happened, right, until I was 16.
Yeah.
In a way, I wish I did know, because I spent so much time in my teens trying, it's so confusing that age. It's like, who am I and why am I here?
All your friends are like, hey, my dad does this. And
right. And I just never knew. And that curiosity just kept getting stronger for me. Okay, what happened? Like, what's the big secret? Who was he and what was he like? And am I anything like him? Right?
Yeah.
That was like a question I always had. I asked my aunts, I asked my aunt, nobody would tell me. My mom is very resilient and she's a very positive person. I kind of always had to tiptoe because she never wanted to talk about it. I guess she just never really wanted to go back to those moments. She buried it deep.
It's in her rearview mirror. It's a thing of the past, right?
It is. And maybe in a way she wanted to protect me from those things. But I had this burning like curiosity of like, what happened? Do I have any other brothers and sisters like that I don't know about? Like there were so many
questions, right?
So yeah, I mean, so many questions. And she finally looked at me and she said, look, I'm going to tell you this story, but I'm only going to tell it to you once. It was like, this is everything that you need to know. Let's move on. So she was working and she got a mysterious call from somebody that she didn't know, never heard of. And basically this person told her that he had died and that she needs to come and retrieve his body. Well, she had so many questions and he said, you have to fly. There's going to be a ticket waiting for you at the airport. Go pick up your ticket and I'll meet you when you arrive. Click. So she's like,
What?
Where am I going? Where is he? Who is this person? Is this real? And is this safe, right?
Yeah.
Women's intuition, I guess. She somehow knew he is dead and she has to go do this. She goes to the airport. She picks up a ticket. She's going to a city she never heard of. She said there was hardly any people on this plane. And she just remembers, like, from the air, them just like kind of circling and getting lower, but not seeing an airport. And so she lands and she says it was like a movie. There were black cars there, armed men, and they were all just like parked on the runway. They know who she is. This man approaches her, and he says, I'm gonna take you to him. And she's like, this was the hottest guy she's ever seen in her life.
I'll come with you, sir. Yes.
I'm like, Mom, like, back
She's
to the
single
story.
now.
Back to the story.
It's not just in the movies. This is like real life.
This is real life. So she goes and they take her to some house. There's lots of drugs. There's lots of people. She doesn't want anything to do with it. She's just waiting for someone's going to come pick her up and take her to him. They came to pick her up. She's going down these roads and they get to like some small church. When she went in and she saw his body, she could see where he was, he was shot. They didn't tell her like what exactly happened. They just said, it was an accident, basically. It wasn't like a targeted thing. Mm-hmm. The story goes that he kind of had a big mouth and he was saying stuff he wasn't supposed to say. So who knows? He got into something or did something and that's what happened. So yeah. He was shot. She said it started pouring rain. And when it rains in the jungle, it's like nothing you've heard before. Torrential downpour. Now, while she was there, they actually, they offered her a bunch of money. They knew that she had a daughter and...
It's like their insurance policy.
It's almost like yeah, exactly. She didn't want it. I think at that point, I told you he was abusive. And I think she just wanted to I don't want anything to do with this whole life that he had secretly created. It was a good choice because when she got back to Iquitos, there were police there waiting for her because they know there's shady stuff happening there. So thank God she didn't come back with a suitcase full of money.
Right.
You'd have to explain some things there. And then there started, I guess, her process of okay, now what?
And then, now she's got decisions to make. Like, what's next? What's next for us?
Yeah. I guess it caused her to grow up pretty quickly.
I can imagine. So let's fast forward now. Now you guys are in Canada. What were you, 5 when you and your mom moved here?
Yeah. So I mentioned she was part of 13 brothers and sisters. So they, I have aunts and uncles and cousins everywhere. And I had one here in Toronto. So we actually had come originally to visit. Obviously, it was summer because my mom fell in love with
she
Toronto.
Didn't come here in the winter.
Yeah, we weren't here in the winter. Beautiful trees and just how she had seen in movies, these big, tall, shiny buildings. And she just said, I want to stay here, not knowing how. She was just like, this is where I want to be.
Wow. And she made it happen.
And back then it was if you got married, you could stay. She met my now stepfather. I don't call him my stepfather because he's the only one I've ever known. Yeah. Right. And he raised me. So, that's my dad.
Yeah.
So we ended up being able to stay. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. So you come to realize this at the age of 16, your roots are here in Canada. You're in this beautiful space of automotive, but what brought you here? Because I know that wasn't your line of study, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, probably a lot of people. I went to school for something completely different. I thought I was going to be a lawyer, but
too.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of people's story. That's not what was meant to be for me. I met some great people, and I met people that I guess saw something in me that I didn't know existed. And I think because of what my mom instilled in me, it's like she came from where she came from and she made it here. And they actually, my parents did pretty well. I mean, what excuse do I have not to succeed, right? Hard work, good work ethic was always instilled in me as well.
What sucked you in? Like, what kept you here in the automotive space?
People and opportunity. I always found automotive to be open-minded in that sense, that like if I worked hard and if I could provide value, work on my skill sets, there would be opportunity for me here. And I think that's true for the most part. I don't know about any other industries. I just know that this one has always been like arms wide open. And again, it's because of the relationships that I've built. I love this industry. I could not picture myself doing anything else.
I think you really nailed it when it comes to the people within this industry, because you can meet so many different people, but the connections that you make in this industry are connections to last a lifetime. So talk to me about some of the connections that have, been extremely valuable to the person, the CEO that you are today.
I have so many people in my life, luckily, that I can draw on for different things.
Yeah.
I think you can learn something from everybody. If you pay attention enough and you are authentic in who you are, you can find those connections. Like they're there. It's just whether or not you have the ability to kind of break down that wall you want people to think you are and truly connect with people on like a human level. That's why I tell my story, right? It's because everything kind of correlates to one another. Who I was, who I became, and how I got here. And everybody has a backstory. Like I've never seen anybody successful that hasn't gone through their share of shit, basically. And it's always personal and professionally, right? Sometimes like you think you're making all these right decisions and then life happens. At the end, it's really how you deal with those things.
Resilience.
Resilience, yeah.
It's important. Now, I know that, Beepzz is your baby. You brought Beepzz from the ground up. Talk to me a little bit about your journey in automotive before Beepzz. I know that you had your marketing company as well that was, focused on the automotive industry. Talk to me about, some of your successes and, what brought you to Beepzz today.
The underlining theme of my career has always been that I find opportunities. Like to me, if I see something that I want to do, I never say to myself like, oh, here's all the, long list of why I shouldn't do it. I'm just like, let's do it.
Why not? Right?
Yeah, I guess again, it's the confidence and the risk tolerance of I'm okay failing. I'm okay if it doesn't work out. So in the beginning, I didn't know I had that entrepreneurial side of me, and I never actually intended to get into sales or into marketing or into recruitment. Like those things were never part of like a strategy that I had. And I was like, oh, this is how my career is going to go. That never happened. I saw an opportunity and I said, I wonder if I could do this. And I'm a creator. I think that by nature, like this is who I am. And that's when I'm in my genius. Like give me a challenge and allow me to think about it and to create new things, whether it's a new company, a new process, a new product, whatever it is. I love that journey of creating and taking it as far as I can go. That to me is the most exciting. That's what gets me up in the morning. And so how I got into marketing when I had my marketing company was purely out of necessity. It was like I was selling cars at the time. So I naturally was like, well, how can I sell more cars? And this is before social media was like a huge thing and now everybody's on it, right? And I started to think, okay, well, I need more exposure. How can I do that? I mean, then I started getting into direct mail marketing. I was a good cold caller, Again, it didn't have that fear. And so then I started to go, maybe I have a knack for this. Maybe I can make something of this. And I started to build relationships. So I started to kind of create a clientele, of dealers who trusted me. And I thought, all right, now's the time. So in 2016, I started a marketing company with no marketing degree or real marketing background. I had the ability to teach myself and to ask the right questions to people that knew more than me.
Yeah.
And I put it together.
So you said 2016. So you put all this together with 2 babies in tow?
Oh, yeah. So that was...
I forgot about that.
Right, my kids. Yeah, I have 2 kids. Now they're 11 and 12. So they're only about a year apart. Once you make the decision that you're going to have a family, no one tells you as a woman, that there's bumps along the way. Some have a difficult time having kids. Some have miscarriages. And that was the case for me. Like, I actually got pregnant very quickly. But then I miscarried at almost 6 months. So that was a really, really, really dark time for me and my husband. And in the moment, I'm just like, I don't think I could ever get over this. I really don't.
Yeah.
But there must be something in our brains or genetically that as women, like how strong we are and resilient we are to still be able to go on with life.
Yeah.
Luckily, I had my Emily, and it was so crazy because you go from like the deepest sadness to like such joy when you have a baby. And I think it makes you appreciate it a lot more because like so many things can go wrong and there's like thousands of things that have to go right in your body to produce this perfect little baby.
Yep.
And so I just fell in love with her, and I just adore. I still adore her. And people, I've taken her to events, and like she's just my miracle baby. And I barely got used to having this little angel with me. And when she was 6 months, I got pregnant with my second.
Oh, wow.
And I remember, telling my mom, and she was like, I'm not ready. And I was like, you're not ready? Like,
I just became a grandma.
Yeah. She's like, this is so new. It was tough at first because it really does feel like having twins. And you would know all about that because you've got twins.
Yeah.
And so somewhere I thought, this would be a great time to start a business.
That's the perfect time. Why not?
What
juggling
else am
children.
I doing? Yeah. It's not like I'm busy.
Yep.
I was like, what's the worst that could happen? And I went for it.
But you were successful with it.
I was actually really successful. Yeah. It came, I just, again, through relationships, through connecting the dots of opportunities and how I could make it work. And I mean, I had the support always. My mom, my mother-in-law, you need people
Grandparents are a blessing.
Yes, especially because they get sick a lot, the kids, right, when they're small. So it's not easy, but I was creating. That's my zone of just leave me alone. And I just let me put these things together and strategize. And I love it all. I love sales. I love the marketing, and I love people. And so as long as I'm always doing something with that,
yes,
I'm happy.
So you created your marketing company. You made, the executive decision to, sell her and carry on to new and exciting opportunities, which brings you to Beepzz and the story about Beepzz. And now Beepzz is basically the go-to recruitment agency for, executive positions in the automotive sector here in North America. So talk to me a little bit about your vision, your, creative mindset behind this, beautiful company.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do have a very big vision. We started with recruitment because it was sort of like a natural transition from what I was doing. And the work is there, the trust and credibility is there. And so through our connections, it really did not take a long time. I know I'm doing the right thing because it feels like it's a lot less resistance, right? I always say, like, when it feels like I'm swimming against a current, you know, that feeling of like, I tried this, I tried that. It's like things are just not working. I know something is off. Yeah. And that hasn't been the case with Beepzz. It's been going really just sort of like naturally. We're building, we're getting busier, we're attracting the right people to us. We're working on some very high level, you know, positions. And I'm very grateful. But at the same time, we're still in the background building something much, much bigger. It's going to be fantastic, and it's first of its kind. So
I love it. So, you know, we were able to kind of dissect Jessi Kessel from, you know, infancy to you today. You know, not just a CEO. You're a mom. You're also a spouse. You know, you're a daughter of a very strong woman who I quite admire, by the way. I'm a huge fan of your mom, and I haven't even met her yet.
She's bigger than life, my mom.
Right?
I'm the serious one. I'm the boring one. She's like out partying. But I don't blame her. It's like, from how it started, it's like, live it up, Mom.
That's how you need to do it. She needs to write a book on this, right?
Yeah.
Let's leave it at, what is your, you know, vision of Beepzz in the next 5 years? Where do you see Beepzz as Beepzz's founder and CEO?
I don't live in the end result. As I told you, I am a creator, and what I will be inspired to create along the way, and not just me, because you don't grow a company with just you. You grow a company as a collective, and everyone that is with us and that is gonna join us is gonna come with something different and something new.
Yeah,
it's like a becoming.
I love it. You see it becoming.
I see it becoming, and it's going to, you know, it's going to involve a community of people. We're getting to a point, maybe in history, where we are, you know, the new generation coming in is coming in with a different perspective. Maybe we're limited even with imagining what we think something should be, and, you know, give it a little bit of time. The sky's the limit, as they say.